Hello, hello. I'm Strider, your host here at Author in the Headlights. And today we have Timothy S. Johnston. Tim, welcome.
Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure to be here.
You bet, you bet. Now, we got your name, by the way, through Chanticleer because you're an award-winning author. And your most recent book came up and they said, you should probably talk to this guy. And so, of course, I did my due diligence and grabbed you. And now you are, let's say, in Canada, right?
Yeah, I live in Southern Ontario, about 2 hours west of Toronto, in a city called London, Ontario.
London, Ontario. Hey, all right. Now you had, like I said, an award-winning book this last year. And what category do you write in?
So I write techno thrillers or technological thrillers or science fiction thrillers. It's all based on real science. It's grounded in reality. It's the current series that you see over my shoulder there is ocean exploration and, in fact, ocean floor colonization. But it's all based on real science and also inspired by history and especially the Cold War. The height of the Cold War in the 60s, 70s, and 80s between the United States and the Soviet Union. So while it is considered science fiction, techno thriller, it is very much just a commercial series of commercial thrillers that are based on reality.
Reality-based thriller series. I love it. And I love the thought of undersea exploration and colonization. That makes a good story. I happen
Oh
to
yeah,
like it,
yes,
so somebody else will like it too, I'm sure.
yeah. It's not something that a lot of writers are doing. Most writers, when they want to write something fantastical or escapist entertainment, and they're science fiction writers, they like to write about outer space, cyberpunk, exploration of other planets,
Hmm.
moons,
Hmm.
asteroids, so on. But I decided to write this series based on something a little more close to reality, something that's within our reach. And not only are we looking at embarking on this within the next couple decades or centuries, but we're actually starting it already. It's going on right now as I speak. So that's kind of what I'm writing: techno thrillers, ocean floor colonization.
And so you won with one book, and what's his title?
So it's the gold one over my shoulder there. It's called The Shadow of War. It won the 2023 Cygnus Grand Prize in the sci-fi climate fiction category.
And
It
congratulations on that.
well, thank you so much. It's part of the series. It's a six-book series, which you can see there. And they're written, they tell an overall arc from start to finish, but each one is designed actually to be a standalone thriller. So you can pick them up and read in any order. And that was designed that way. I wanted to do that so readers could jump in at any point, immerse themselves, so to speak, in the action at any point.
That's good.
And each one is a different genre within the genre. And Shadow of War is actually a heist. And I like to say it's the most unique underwater heist book ever written because it is a heist that takes place totally underwater. There are no scenes above water at all. Um, Everything that happens takes place in submarines, submersibles, underwater habitats, sea cars, or in scuba. And it's a heist to steal a weapon, and it's also one of the most unique weapons ever written that takes place underwater because it's a energy particle weapon for use underwater. Limited range, but very useful and worthwhile. If you actually read the book, you'll see why. One of the ongoing threads in the series is the quest for technology, better technology,
Hmm.
um, faster subs, uh, able to withstand the pressures better, going deeper and faster. So that is the goal of the characters in all six books. And it's a common thread in submarine books. If you think about something like The Hunt for Red October, for instance, it was a brand new propulsion system,
Hmm.
and that's an ongoing thread that we see in this type of book. As a result, my characters have to solve problems on the spot in only minutes, meaning 2, 3, 4 minutes. They have to solve the issue or else they're dead. So it adds great pressure
Yes.
pun intended. Great pressure to my characters and to the writing. And readers say that they find themselves holding their breath during some of the sequences in the books. But the idea of setting the books offshore, underwater, came to me decades ago when I was a student studying earth sciences, geology, geophysics, geography at university. And back then, all the professors were talking about global warming, climate change, rising waters, food scarcity, where a nation's going to get resources. And the topic that, or the setting that most writers pitch or write about is outer space, asteroids, comets. So I got to thinking, that's fun, and I love reading that stuff, and I love talking about it. I love writing it as well. But is it realistic for us right now? Like, we're just kind of
Beyond our, yeah.
in the infancy of space travel and exploring the moon, Mars, asteroids, and so on. But consider this: right offshore, the ocean is 70% of the planet. It is a host to untold resources, wealth of resources. It's twice the size of Mars in surface area. And this is right off our shorelines. And as nations suffer global warming, climate change, rising waters, and food scarcity, cropland desiccation, famine, rebellion, dictatorships, possibly in the future,
Sure.
refugees flooding across the planet, right? Much like a force of nature. As nations start to suffer from that, the next realistic step is to the oceans. Not because it's needed to live and needed to survive, but the resources are needed. The iron, the food source, the fish, the minerals.
Chemicals, yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
absolutely.
yeah. Kelp. I love to talk about kelp. Some people look at me like with a blank look in their eyes, but while I'm talking
Seaweed.
about it. But kelp in perfect conditions, kelp will grow a meter a day. So if you're talking about a nation that's suffering food scarcity in a world suffering from the geopolitical realities of climate change, and you have a crop off the coast, off your shore, that could grow a meter a day, the possibilities are endless, and there's a host of other resources that we can get from kelp, like developing plastics from kelp, not just food,
Mm-hmm.
methane from kelp. So that's the reality of the book series, and that's why my characters are doing what they're doing. The books are not about that. That's just the setting. My characters are
The
thrown into
setting.
a
Hmm.
situation, and they're in the middle of a Cold War between the United States, China, Russia, Germany, and they're trying to navigate this new reality and live their lives, but live them in peace with every other nation. So,
All right. So how long did it take you to write a given book?
um, good question, Strider. A book, by far, I research more than I write. I also edit more than I write.
Yes,
So
absolutely.
I will go through months and months of research, and plotting and designing my world and my characters. And then I will write fairly quickly to get a first draft done. And then I will spend months and months editing the work, tearing it apart, rebuilding it, moving sections. But to answer your question, about a year per book. So the first book that I had published by Carina Press was in 2013, and it's a murder mystery that takes place in outer space, and it's called The Furnace. Classic kind of Agatha Christie style formula, but it takes place in outer space on a space station orbiting the sun, and that was 2023. So here we are sorry, that was 2013. Here we are in 2024, 11 years later, and my ninth book was A Blanket of Steel, which my publisher in Toronto, Fitzhenry and Whiteside, just put out. So 9 books in 11 years.
That's production. That's really moving forward well. I take about a year and a half to produce a book, so that's a little faster than I do. That's good. That's
Yeah, each book is
so
different though.
you have
Some will gestate for a long time, and then some will just,
true. It's always true. Yeah.
yeah.
So what is that series called?
So the underwater series is called The
Hmm.
Rise of Oceania. The
The
first
Rise of
book is
Oceania.
called, and the first book is called The War Beneath, but designed for readers to enter at any point in the book series. And this is something that I was very deliberate about. And I'm sure the publisher thought about this as well. Uh, I didn't want to have one book that built on the previous one. And by the time you get to the fifth book, people have to have read all the previous
As I
ones.
was going to
I
say, with
wanted
6 books in a series, that's a lot of effort actually for someone to fulfill that to get to your later books. So your readership tends to go down.
One of the books is a prison break. The prison is underwater. So that's An Island of Light. So the green book there over my shoulder. One of the books is a do or die mission inspired by World War II stories of a group of characters against impossible odds. Do or die. Succeed in your mission and die trying if necessary. But whatever happens, you have to succeed. That's the purple book there called Fatal Depth. So each one is kind of different in its own way, but same characters and in the same world.
Wow, that's cool. I like it. I can see why with you've got energy behind it, and it takes that and emotion to be a good writer. And I suppose not necessarily if you're writing textbooks, but certainly if you're writing novels and thrillers, absolutely romance, those things. It takes that, and I can feel that in you, which probably means your book's pretty good and award winner too. So yeah,
Yeah.
okay, put me in my place. You are.
I mean, it's about being inspired by a genre and being passionate about it, and wanting to give to the genre, wanting to contribute to the genre. So I want to provide escapism to people because escapism was so important to me growing up. I feel like a good story can save the world, really, and I'm inspired by this genre. I can tell you the first time I saw The Terminator in 1985. I can tell you about the first time I saw RoboCop. I can tell you about Predator when I was 16, 17 years old, and we had to sneak into the theater to see it because it was a restricted movie. I can tell you about that. I can tell you about the first time I stepped into the theater to watch a little known movie starring Dennis Quaid called Enemy Mine. And I was so excited about that. I had read the book before the movie, so I knew what the movie was about because the trailer had blown me away. But I'm so inspired by those works that came before me. So Agatha Christie, Michael Crichton, Isaac Asimov, the greatest science fiction writer of all time, Isaac Asimov. And it's those people that really inspired me, and I want to give back to the genre and provide escapist entertainment for people because of what it did for me in my teen years, how it helped me.
Wow. Okay. Was I talked about emotion and impact, and you got it. Okay. That's got to hook everybody that's watching. You got that? Okay. There's emotion. Pick that up. You that are writers, carry that with you. You that are readers, you know you want to read it now, right? You know you want to pick up those books. Rise of Oceania by Timothy S. Johnston. Got it?
Thank you.
Oh man, you got me all itchy. I want to go write some more. So, what do you
Yeah,
have coming up next?
pardon me?
What do you have coming up next?
So I just finished a 6 book series, which is it's a grueling endeavor, Strider, I have to tell you.
Absolutely.
When you sign that contract and you're sitting there on book 3 and you realize, oh, I have to write, how many more of these do I have to write?
Yeah.
And like the pressure is real, and it really weighs you down. So I have 3 books already done and on my hard drive, and I'm wondering which one I'll go with. One is a contemporary, like present day military climate thriller, dealing with eco-terrorism. 2 of them are space operas, which with futuristic, obviously space operas. And I'm just kind of deciding what to go with next. When I know, my readers will know. Yeah, I'm in the process of deciding what to go with right now.
Timothy, it's kind of been short here, but sweet. And let me tell you, and get right to the point. We got in there. We talked about your books. Um, I will be picking up a book because you're in my genre base. Let me tell you, that's excitement to me to find a new author I want to grab, and maybe we'll meet at Chanticleer conference someday.
Very possible, very possible.
All
Yeah, it
right.
just it involves a plane flight down south, but that's
Yeah, it is. You're
yeah,
not right next door. Like I'm pretty
yeah,
close within a few
yeah.
hours, but it's been fun. It has been fun. I'm really, truly energized by your energy, and it is catching. So keep writing. I'll bump into you again one of these days to see where you've gone to from here. And we may have to have you back on the show. I enjoy it. I love it.
Anytime. Thank you, Strider.
Timothy S. Johnston. Be sure to check him out, DermaPublishing.com bookstore page. And we'll see you again next time. Timothy, thanks.
Thank you.